Well, good evening and welcome. Friends, it's really a delight to have you here. Not only is it really exciting to see you and to have you here to share in this music in person, it's also, for each of these players, I know, a really exciting opportunity to make music together tonight. Many of them have been looking forward to that for months. And certainly the last couple of weeks as we put this program together, it's been a really rewarding process and also at times a surprisingly emotional one, just to have the chance to play together. And it's something that really supports and sustains many of these players as part of their life together in community with one another. And they're so excited to share their music with you, both here in the room and online. There are a couple of details just about the way the program will work tonight that I think are helpful to note. We have in place what have been our safety protocols for a number of months, and we are aware here and are talking with the pandemic team and our staff about the really exciting and hopeful changes that the signs of vaccine effectiveness will mean going forward, but all of those protocols for us right now are still in place with the expectation, both for those who are participating in the concert and those who are here, so we thank you for that. One of those that's a little unusual, we won't take a break in the program to receive an offering, although we often do that. There is a chance if you would like to support this program and future events with a donation, you can do that at the door on the way out. There will be an usher's plate at each of the exit doors. That's a way for you to do that if you want. It's also possible, if you're watching or joining us online, that you can do the same thing through the web portal that's linked right in the description of the concert. And so you'll find that there. That's a way that you can continue to ensure these kinds of programs going forward. Of course, one of the strangest parts of this series this year has been finding ways to share music and draw people together as part of our tradition and our outreach. We're really grateful for the ways we've been able to do that in some limited and solo programs, some online offerings, and some combined or hybrid things like tonight. We're so glad that each of you are here to take part in that, and we're grateful to have a chance to be together. At the end of the program, you'll be dismissed or released from rows by ushers. That just helps us to organize our leaving process and to make sure we don't have folks bunched together, which again has been part of our safety protocol. So at the very end of the program, you'll be ushered out of essentially the two side aisles, and we'll make use of both of these doors in the back. It's a beautiful night, and you're welcome. There's floodlights right in this area, and so if you want to stay and visit outdoors with one another or wait just a minute while they pack instruments to greet players, that has been a hallmark of this series, that we have receptions so that you can share the experience and visit with one another. We hope you'll do that tonight, but we just ask you to help us make that work smoothly by following usher directions at an exit, and then to greet one another or gather just outdoors here near the flagpole where there should be light and even footing and all those kind of things, even as we come to the conclusion. So thank you for being here. Really, it's a great joy to share music with you. It's not a long program. We won't take an intermission, but I'll give a few little highlights of things that we're playing as we go. I'm John Sall. I'm the music director here. I don't know if I said that. I was so excited to greet you and to get us started, but part of what I would like to do is to welcome my colleague. I think he's already up here. Yes, Pastor Kirby Lawrence Hill to offer us an invocation. So if you would welcome him, that would be great. And then he'll offer us a prayer of invocation before we're ready to begin with music. Thank you.
John, thank you. And let me add a word of welcome to what John offered. So glad that you're here. And let me offer a word of deep appreciation to our musicians and our conductor who have navigated the challenges of gathering to prepare for tonight and also to perform tonight. Yes, we can express our appreciation to them. Please join me for this invocation. Creator God, on this beautiful spring evening, We give thanks for being able to see the colorful blossoms, green leaves, and blue sky that we enjoyed today. For those of us who have that ability, it was a feast for the eyes. When we think about experiencing you through our ears, we may think first of the inspiration that comes through Scripture, but soon thereafter we give thanks for human creativity you have brought about that takes form in music that can enrich our souls. Thank you for composers and conductors and musicians who bring notes on a page to life that can lead to enrichment and community and joyful gratitude. Thank you that we can once again begin to safely gather for such events, and we thank you for the capacity to share these gifts even with those who experience this concert this evening online. Thank you, Creator God, for such expressions of creativity we experience this night. In your holy name, amen.
Thank you. We'll begin tonight after a chance just to check in. We'll tune once more, but we begin with a piece which is actually from a set of lute songs in the 16th century. It's a way for us to sort of gather our hearts and our ears together, especially with rehearsal each week. After many months of not playing together in the same room, we wanted a way to do that was fairly simple and straightforward as we would musically gather ourselves together. You'll see that it's a Dowland song called Now, Oh Now I Needs Must Part. We also offer it with a recognition that with our great joy and hope at gathering, we are also still in the midst of a time that is a time certainly of loss, not only for those who have been lost in this pandemic, but all of the signs of grief over this last year and the trauma of our isolation and all of the things that has represented. And so we're glad to begin this program with a sort of gentle point of entry for each of you. It's not a great big overture, but we hope is a recognition of what we've come through together in these months and where we hope to continue to head next as we gather together with our music. Joan. next piece we'll share with you is actually from a set of piano movements by Tchaikovsky. The set is called The Seasons, and there are kind of little character pieces reflecting each of the months and seasons of the year. This is for July. It's called the Repos, and would be a sort of cheerful reflection on the wheat harvest that would have been a part of his group that sort of walked through the seasons of the year. So we give you Tchaikovsky's The Reapers. The next piece on the program you'll see is in our publicity and in our planning for offering this event is really a centerpiece in the program and a highlight. I will say I'm enormously indebted and also really thrilled to my new colleague here at Abington Presbyterian Church and our new organist, Erik Meyer, for helping to make this piece available and possible to us on this program. So Erik, thank you. There are a number of Handel organ concertos, and they are all, like much of Handel's music, they're full of great tunes and some variation in sort of deep pathos, and then these elegant moments and cheerful, sunny moments alongside as well. You'll hear all of that in this one. One of the things I love about this, it was actually in the library, but we had never done it here before. One of the things I love about this is that it begins again in a place that for a concerto today we think of often, right? In the 19th century romantic and 20th century modern concerto idiom, we think of a sort of big flashy opening movement, and maybe the orchestra starts, right, and sort of sets out this big tune, and then the soloist kind of barrels in and says, "Me too," and fancies it up even a bit more than that, right? Going back to a slightly older style and version of music where you would have alternating slow and fast movements, this piece does just that. It actually begins with what is this just incredibly tender and beautiful duet for two cellos. And so you'll hear in the cello section that they really begin, and the soloist is just sort of like hanging out in the group, listening and enjoying. And after that duet, it's as if to say, you know, here's this thing that we've got, and we want to kind of hand off to you. And then the solo part that comes in picks up on those themes and builds on them and adds a series of colorful reflections on what you've already heard and leads into some new territory as well. And then bit by bit, you'll hear the rest of the orchestra join, right, and to be a part of that. And when it finally sort of gets, literally at the very end of the movement, everyone together, everyone playing, as if to say, here we all are. What a beautiful and tender way for us to get together and make music. Then the soloist, then the organ leads us into what is an almost impossibly sunny and cheerful second movement. So if you get 3 or 4 measures in and you think, that's really beautiful, but it's pretty heavy, that's okay, right? It's incredibly pathos-filled opening duet, but it will lead to this very cheerful second movement. The third movement, if you look in the program, you'll see it says solo. It's short and is designed as a little reflection just from the soloist. And so the orchestra gets to also then have their moment to really just listen in and say, oh, how are you going to get us from where we just ended up in that cheerful movement back into D minor, right? In the Baroque era, it will be very important to end where we started. And so that solo, not long, but gives a chance to explore some of the ability of the organ in particular to accompany itself, right? With a solo ornamented line, an accompanying figure in another manual with maybe some flute stops and a pedal part. So you'll hear that short third movement, and then it leads us into, again, a very, although it's D minor, this sort of very bright and regal closing movement that is full of rhythmic figures that sound really royal. And so I think you'll find that such an exciting way to end. I want to say again, not only is this piece, but these recent months in this unusual time has been a great opportunity to begin to get to know Erik as a colleague and as a friend. His musical gifts are already, of course, apparent to us who are working with him all the time, but I'm really thrilled to share them in this format and know and hope we'll have lots of ways that we can share those going forward, both here at Music at Abington, of course, in our worship life together in the congregation and in other ways. So, Erik, welcome. Well, it only seems right that after this year, we should end a first program sort of really back in place and with people in the room with a little set called moods, right? These are also little character pieces, each of them a kind of little study in both a compositional form, trying in just a few bars to create a mood, to create musically an idea that can sort of carry for the listener an emotional quality. One of the things that's really lovely about the way that the series of these 5 also fits together is, in their own way, musically they sort of work together in an order that makes some sense, but they also tell a bit of their own story in the way that we might move through our life from mood to mood and moment to moment as well. So these 5 little Bartok moods, the joyful canon that begins maybe is, I don't know, perhaps greeting a sunny day in the spring like it looks like today or something like that. And then it comes to a moment really of just beautiful reflection and also sadness. Whatever the cause of that sadness is in these pieces, we don't know, but you'll hear them and hear that reflection. The mischievous one is maybe both the most challenging and the most fun to play, because the piece is designed to sort of leave you wondering what happens next and when. It's hard for me to remember sometimes. It's hard for the players to keep track on top of that, but they've done such a great job. So I think you'll love the way that movement winks a little bit at you, and we have said maybe sounds a little like a role I played long ago, which was a younger sibling needling at maybe an older brother or sister. And then soon on the heels of that mischievous movement, we'll get a little remorse, right? And then end in a festive way. And we hope that over the course of this year, whatever your moods might have been, also we can end tonight as a musical celebration together in a festive mood as well. So the Bartok moods, and thank you so much for being here to share in music with us tonight.